Good evening, everybody, and welcome to my channel. I am joined tonight by my teammate, co-host, pain in my ass, DA Talks. Tonight is DA Blabs.
Yeah, it's DA Blabs.
Yeah, and our guest tonight is one half of the creative team and the writer of Thump, The First Bunder Days, Walmart, Black Hops, Kamen America, and his own novel, They'll Get You, and a man who has seen more movies and watched more television than anyone who has ever been paid to do so, Mark Pellegrini.
Well, thanks for everything but that last part.
I bet you it's true. How are you tonight, Mark?
I'm doing great. How about the both of you?
Oh, doing great. And your Kickstarter is doing fantastic.
It really is. We were talking about it before it went live, but so Kamen America 1, the Kickstarter ended after the full month at 20K, and we made over that in the first day on Kamen America 2. So I guess if that says anything, it just means that the people who read Kamen America 1 are coming back and they're bringing their friends with them, and we're really grateful for that.
It was a great book. I loved Kamen America 1. I thought, yeah, you guys are pretty great. You are one of the only creators that actually get my money every single time, because I know the book is going to be good. I know I'm going to get it on time, and I know it's going to be totally worth every moment I spend reading it.
You guys are actually one of the only creators that will ever get my money. So
yes, it's all ours. His money is ours.
He's actually gonna back.
Yeah.
And
I don't back comic books, so.
I'm really grateful, and I'm also grateful to the people that the people that don't back, but the people who spread awareness of Kamen America to the masses. The people who promote us and share and retweet, they help us out a lot. Our reach is actually not as big as a lot of the other the big time campaigners. Our reach isn't as big as theirs. So anybody who shares and retweets and helps support us, it's a big deal. We appreciate it.
Yeah, well, Dean doesn't have much of a reach anymore. But,
damn it, Dean!
But I'm trying to.
My Twitter following was never huge, guys. Let's not.
We appreciate moral support too. There,
yeah,
all the moral support.
He's doing the financial support part of it instead of the retweeting portion of the program. So I know you had some questions, Dean.
Yes, I do have some questions.
Because he loves asking questions.
It's my favorite thing to do on this.
What magazines do you keep in your sock drawer? I'll never tell.
Yeah. So actually, a lot of my friends seem to really enjoy your writing, specifically Black Ops. I don't think most writers would be able to take such a strange concept and have it become such like a really big hit. And so I'm curious, like, how are you able to express such a wide variety of ideas into one book?
Well, Black Ops, that one is the hard sell. I mean, Kamen America is I think it's a bit more palatable to general masses because one, it's a superhero. She's a blend of American and Japanese style. She's got a manga aesthetic, which is really popular. The girls are cute. It's an easier sell, I think, for Kamen America. Black Ops, most people who read Black Ops, they're a bit more adventurous. They're trying something that's a little weird and out there. It's these cute but radioactive commando animals for the U.S. government that fight monsters and terrorists and cryptids and things, and it's a very weird book. So anybody who's adventurous enough to try it out, that's the hard sell. So we're really grateful to those people. But Black Ops, so we have the Black Ops Omnibus, which is actually going through a second round of pre-orders on Indiegogo right now. And we've done 3 volumes of Black Ops all together. And if you pick up the Omnibus and you read those 3 volumes all together, I mean, you're going to see our growing pains, which is basically your question, Dean, is the answer is that we had to learn along the way. And actually, if you like seeing the developmental process and you read that omnibus and you see like issue 1 is its own thing, issue 2 is very different from issue 1, and issue 3 is very different from issue 2. And trying to express everything in those stories, I mean, part of the learning process on that was if you read Black Ops Volume 1, Buns of the Patriots, there's this dossier narration because USAGI can't talk. He's essentially a normal rabbit. He has a hyper intelligence, and he has hyper physical capabilities, but he can't talk. He's not Bugs Bunny. So we had this dossier narration that would express what was happening on the page. And we got more confident in Volume 2, Hair Trigger, to let what was happening on the page, the artwork, speak for itself. And so we diminished that dossier narration a bit. And Volume 3, the brand new one, that one is going to be the last time we really have the dossier narration, and it's very much diminished to the point where it's practically not even there. We have kind of it's the agent character who looks like Clint Eastwood. He's having kind of like, he's basically having he's the eyes in the sky, so he's kind of doing this calling the shots sort of thing over the headset, and that's sort of replaced the dossier narration. But that's kind of going to be the end of that. We've gotten confident enough in our storytelling abilities. We've established the universe and the lore and the way things work, how this agency works called Black Ops, their place in the world, these other animals and such, that we don't really need the info dumping and expositional qualities of that narration. So like I said, it's growing pains. We're learning as we go along. And Volume 3, I think, is of all of our Black Ops ones, that's my favorite because it's gotten all the hard work, all the foundational stuff out of the way, and we're just having fun now. It's like when you have a box of Legos, and you build your castle, and then you get to play with it. And now we're at the point where we built our castle, and now we get to play with it. So it's a lot of fun now.
Nice.
Yeah, reading it was a lot of fun. The writing has really tightened up. A lot happens in Volume 3, and there's a lot of action and a lot of different things going on, but it's never confusing. And it's just super tight. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I know that one thing that I have improved on is my pacing, all the fundamentals, I've gotten better with. It's like practice. So every time I write a comic, I get a little bit better at it. So Volume 1, I thought it was paced okay, but that one was a 2-issue in floppies, a 2-issue miniseries. Volume 2, Hair Trigger, that one was an anthology. It was basically a triptych is what it's called, where you have 3 interconnecting stories. Mm-hmm. And so those 3 stories all come together, and they all kind of happen simultaneously. So that was a totally different writing format than Volume 1. Volume 1 had to have that break right in the middle of the story because it was a 2-issue miniseries. Volume 3 had to have 3 separate stories that interconnected and kind of weaved in and out of each other because they took place simultaneously. And then Volume 3 is the one that's just a singular story from beginning to end that doesn't have any of the bells and whistles and sort of stumbling blocks that Volume 1 and Volume 2 had for their cute formats. And I think that's also, it makes writing a lot easier when I'm writing a single, in Black Ops 3's case, I think it was 60 pages of just one single story. That's a lot less headache inducing than having to write a triptych that needs to weave in and out and happen simultaneously.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot. Probably, I really liked one. I was talking with a friend of mine who had read it, and we went through that one scene where the tiger and his trainer, or the trainer dies and the tiger's dying, and USAGI drags the tiger over to his trainer, and so that they can lay together and pass away together. It was just like heart-wrenching. Both of us we're like, oh my gosh. It still gives you like the little feels every time you see it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if this had been a Joss Whedon movie, it ended with like, oh, the tiger. No. Oh yeah. Well, so it's funny because so that one was a 2-issue miniseries. So when the first issue came out and the first issue ends with the tiger scene, we got a lot of really positive feedback. You know, the reviews came out and people said, oh, you know, it has that part at the end. It's so gut wrenching and unexpectedly emotional. Blah blah blah. We love it. And then when issue 2 came out, we actually got a lower score from people. They still liked it, but they said like, "Oh, this issue didn't make me cry the way issue 1 did, so it's not as good." Like, we can't make you cry in every issue, people. This isn't Steven Universe.
But we must cry in it. We must feel the entire gamut of emotions.
Right.
No, I don't think so. But you know, it was heart-wrenching. But I like where all the animals have gone. I mean, Rigger Tortoise is my favorite. Like,
He
little
was
dude.
that one was a huge surprise. So Rigger Tortoise, he was a character that originally wasn't even going to exist. So in Hair Trigger in Volume 2, Tim actually commissioned artist Matt Weldon, who wrote 2 of the stories in Hair Trigger, and he commissioned him to do conceptual artwork for various characters. Like, he designed Patriotter, and on one of his concept art pieces, in the bottom corner, he drew this little turtle with a machine gun on its shell. And we're like, "Hey, what's that?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know. I just had some extra space on the page, so I doodled something." I'm like, "Well, now we got to put that in the book." So it was a gag character who was just supposed to have that kind of jokey payoff at the end where he launches those missiles. And everybody said they loved Rigger Tortoise when they were supposed to love Patriotter. He was the cool new character that everyone was supposed to like, but Rigger's Tortoise stole the show. So we found a way to merge him with Patriotter in Volume 3. And I think that ended up actually improving both characters. And the scene, well, I'm not going to, since it's still in pre-order, I'm not going to spoil anything from Black Ops 3, but I think their new rapport between Patriotter and Rigger Tortoise is really cool. And we're going to have a lot of fun stuff with that.
Yeah, I liked our little team up. Yeah, I enjoyed that a lot. Because Tim's style has changed a lot from the first to now, and I mean, it's in everything. The way USAGI just looks, you know, all of it has grown tremendously. But the little look on Patriotter's face when he's I'll say playing with Rigger Tortoise is so fabulous. It's like so self-satisfied, and it's just this little cartoon otter. Like, but it's just fabulous.
So he has gotten he's gotten cartoonier, and he's kind of merged the manga anime aesthetic that he was developing in Wall Might and Kamen America. He merged that with Black Ops, and I think it actually benefited Black Ops because even though Black Ops is darker than Kamen America, it's a bit more violent. It's a bit more serious. It still has these cute animals, and so that kind of manga aesthetic he's applied to those animals, it's just made them cuter, and that just makes them better. It makes it funnier, and it also helps us get away with some of the violence because they're killing dudes left and right, but they look so cute while they're doing it. It's kind of okay.
Yeah, the shots of USAGI with the knife in his mouth, like in the first one when he's just slaughtering people back and forth with that, it was just great.
When Tim first drew that, I was like, Tim, this is what I want. Like all the time, nothing but
this. Constant. That's all I want too.
So I wanted to ask, now that Black Ops has joined My Hero Macadamia in having 3 total issues, are there any plans to continue either of those comics, or are they both
Oh, well, so Wall Might is done. That was a trilogy. We've completed it. We kind of so Tim, between Kamen America and Black Ops, the way that's going to go is we're going to do 2 volumes of Kamen America and 1 volume of Black Ops a year. And so altogether that comes out to like 200 pages, I think, that Tim has to draw a year. So I don't think he could take on any more books than that. In fact, this year, wow, he's he actually did 4 books this year, and I think it nearly killed him.
Wow.
He actually got an ulcer, I think. He had to see the doctor. So
No.
he's just going to do the 3 volumes per year. So there just isn't enough room on our schedule to include Wall Might. Also, we had our fun with Wall Might. We're very proud of it. But it is a political parody. It's very contemporary, and there's only so many times you can do the Donald Trump joke before people, kind of like, all right, we get it. You kind of turn it into Ray J. Johnson here. It was funny for 5 minutes, but knock it off. Yeah.
But that's going to give you more time to write your own novels.
Exactly. So, in fact, I got the Kamen America 3 script. I got the first draft finished on Tuesday, and I sent that into Tim. And he's right now, since he's running the campaigns, he's going to get his notes back to me probably later in October. But that's given me time to work on my next short story. I had one published this summer, actually, in Cursova magazine. You can find that on Amazon. It's a weird fiction literary pulp magazine, and they published my horror story in the summer special. It's called Just Don't Open the Door. And so I was really proud of that. It's actually my first piece of prose work that was not self-published. It was picked up by a magazine. They paid me for it and everything, real
Nice.
American dollars. So that was very gratifying to know that somebody read my stuff and was willing to give me money for it. So I'm working on my next short story right now, which I hope to have done by early October, so I can pitch it around to the magazines that are doing calls. And then I've got I got my first novel out, and I'm going to work on my next one. So yeah, let's keep me busy.
Yeah. I picked up your first novel. They'll Get You, which so far I have been enjoying tremendously. I really like little Kevin.
Thank you.
I do, and it is it's a horror novel, in case nobody out there in the chat knows. And it's creepy. It's a little Kuntz. Reminds me a little bit of Kuntz, who I enjoy, and F. Paul Wilson kind of too.
Well, that's high praise. Thank you. Kuntz is good stuff. I remember reading The Watchers back in high school, and I really loved that one.
Yeah. And it's every fear a 10-year-old can have so far. I've noticed you've managed to pack all of those in there in a pretty amazing way. I really liked it.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I mean, it is my first. So I guess it's technically my second novel. My first novel was like this experimental novel-length ballad written entirely in rhyme that people can check it out if they're feeling bold enough. It's called The Ballad of Doc Holliday and the Blood-Sucking Locomotive. That one's on Amazon too. If anybody's feeling bold enough, just go and check the look inside and read, I don't know, about like a few pages and see if you can find the meter or not. But this is my first prose novel, my first traditional novel. So it's available on Amazon for anybody who wants to go check it out. Just look up They'll Get You by Mark Pellegrini on Amazon, and you can find it. And I've had a few people read it and get back to me, and I'm actually very, very relieved that it's not terrible.
The link to it is in the description, and I just dropped it in the chat.
Thank you.
And the link for the Source Nova Kindle. So yeah. Oh, I took care of you. I got you. The link for Black Hops Omnibus is in the description, as well as the link for the Kamen America Kickstarter, which we should get into since it did open today, and I think Dean may have some questions about it.
Fire away.
Maybe not.
No, I don't. Well, I did have a question. I did have a question about if there was any plans to do any fun crossovers.
Yes, there is. So Kamen America, as everyone knows, Kamen America spun out of Wall Might. Even though Kamen America is apolitical, it's not a political parody like Wall Might is. So there is that shared universe there. But now Kamen America is also sharing universe with Black Hops. And so we are planning a crossover, and we even teased it at the end of Kamen America 1 with our backup story. And for people who picked up Black Ops 3 and have already gotten the digital PDF and read through it, they've seen the second part of that backup. So that's, spoiler alert, the backups are actually a serial So if you pick up Kamen America 1, Black Ops 3, Kamen America 2, and then next year Kamen America 3, you're going to get a 4-part serial that's going to lead into our big crossover event. So for anybody who's interested in that stuff, just make sure to pick all those issues up.
And it just crossed 28K on
man.
Kickstarter with 781 backers on its
Thank
first
you,
day.
everybody.
It's very exciting. Yeah,
People
I backed
love
it. I backed it as soon as I got off of work, because I couldn't remember my Kickstarter password, and I did not want to have to reset it again. So as soon as I got home, I backed it.
Well, I guess if we're talking Kickstarter, I do want to put one more call out to everybody who backed us on Kickstarter, be it Black Ops 3 or if you just backed us on Kamen America 2. The way Kickstarter works is you don't enter your address when you make your order. You enter your address when the campaign concludes. They send you a survey, they email it to you, and they ask you for your address there. And that's when you send the address, and that's when it fulfills. We can't fulfill until you complete that survey and submit it back to Kickstarter. So we've actually had a few people, in fact, from Kamen America 1, which was back in March, who are contacting Tim now, saying that they never got their book, and he's checking their backer number and then telling them they never completed the survey. So you'll get the survey in your email, the email that you used on Kickstarter. If you don't see it in your email, check your spam folder. If you don't see it in your spam folder, you can log into your Kickstarter account and the survey will be there in your Kickstarter account. And if you have any other questions, you can always contact Tim. There's a contact button on the Kickstarter page to contact him. But just a reminder, you got to fill out that survey or you won't have your address and we won't be able to ship your book.
So make sure you put it in your calendar app on your phone so it reminds you the day after the campaign closes to check for your survey. I think I get those because I usually see them right away on Twitter or and I do them immediately. I'm like, nope, there we go. I want my book. And hopefully I get it in the next week or so.
Oh yeah, so Black Ops 3 actually is the first load of Black Ops 3, they're already all packaged. The first load of the physical books went out today, and the last of them are going to go out on Friday. So
Yay.
that one's out.
Yay, very exciting. How do you guys usually do that? Do you do it by tier, or do you know how they
So our
it?
fulfillment company, Iconic Comics, they are located in Texas, and Tim is in Texas right now working with them. And so they download the spreadsheet from Kickstarter or Indiegogo that has all the information, and it is, I believe that it's categorized by tier, as in like what you ordered. So all the people who ordered just Black Ops 3, they have that in one tab, and then all the people who ordered like Black Ops Omnibus with the acrylic standee are in another tab. So that way they can package up basically stacks, like, oh, we need to do 50 stacks of the standee and the book, or 50 stack or 100 stacks of just the book, etc., which helps keep it organized. But Iconic Comics does a great job fulfilling all of our stuff. They've that one's run by Johnny Wong in Temple, Texas, and he's amazing.
Yeah, they do Weldon's too, right?
Oh, yep, they do Punchline, I believe.
Yeah,
and
I got my book from Punchline from them, and then Soulfinder.
Yep, and in fact, all the people who order Black Ops and Kamen America 2, you're going to get that nice Iconic Comics shipping box that has the logo and all the Iconic Comics characters on it.
Yeah, I like the box before, because I think it's probably the only book I've gotten aside from Doug to Naples, which came in a box.
We stole that idea from him.
Well, no, I mean, every book I've got, I mean the decorative box, but I've always your books have come in boxes, which I like, because I can because I can stand on that thing and it doesn't squish.
Oh yeah, Tim actually posted a video of Johnny, how he packages those Iconic Comics boxes, and it's like a load of bubble wrap and then a strip of bubble wrap in the empty space. Those things are gonna come to you in one piece no matter what.
Yeah, that they do. and it's great. I like that kind of fulfillment. I like that you guys complete the book before you open pre-orders. You know, a lot of the smaller indie guys are doing that, like Skinny, Pickles, and Shabby, and Tonic Mole. You know,
Oh yeah.
a lot of the smaller guys are doing that, and it builds confidence. It makes me want to back the book, knowing that it's actually completed, and I'm not going to have to wait 8 months for someone to, you know, finally finish, or maybe fire their colorist or letterer, or something
or
crazy like that.
scam their writer and then never deliver the book. You know?
I feel like well, I know who you're talking about. I feel he's going to get the last laugh on all this eventually, though. But no, honestly, it just seems it's the way to go. It's the natural thing to do, is have the book ready. That's why we try not to use the word campaign. We try to use the word pre-order, because we want everyone to know that the book's ready. And when you when you go to Kickstarter or Indiegogo and you place your order, you're getting a pre-order for a product that exists, not a hypothetical product that may be completed who knows when. It's a product that's being printed by API. They're our printer. They're located in Tennessee, so everything we do is made in the USA. But it's a book that's already done, and Tim and I have we have a system between the two of us. I'm working on the next script while he's drawing the current comic, and then by the time he's done drawing the current comic, I've finished the next script, and then he can draw the next script, and then I can start writing the next one, which is why I finished Kamen America 3 just about the same time he finished Kamen America 2. So we're always ready to go.
That's actually, I'm really happy that you brought that up, because my next question that I wanted to ask you was, why do you think that you and Tim work so well together? Because it's clear that you guys make such a great team.
Yeah, I need an answer to that, because, you know, I may need to trade DA in for a new partner, and I'm gonna know what kind of criteria to look for.
Don't you dare try to take Tim away from me. I need that man.
Oh, unless it was Tim, then you'd be trading up. But like anybody else, you'd be trading down.
No, Tim and I have known each other for a really long time. And we've worked on smaller projects together over the years. Like when Tim was doing merchandising for Marvel and Lucasfilm and all them, he would come and ask me sometimes to help him pitch ideas, because he'd have to crank out these T-shirt and lunchbox and clip art and merch, and just general merch designs for Transformers and Star Wars and Deadpool and things. He would have to churn out like 20 a week, which is insane. They all had to be these original ideas. So he would come to me and ask me to come up with like some jokes for like a funny T-shirt or something like that. And so we worked together on things like that. We had wanted to do a comic or a storybook or something for a long time, and there were so many false starts where we tried to get a web comic going, but there just wasn't. Tim just didn't have the time, because he had to draw his merchandising stuff. I wrote scripts for like a kid's storybook that just never happened. And so Thump the First 100 Days was the first time we actually managed to put together a project and see it through to completion, a narrative project. And then from that came Black Ops, and then Wall Mites, and then et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we've done so many books together. Let's see, if I had to count, let's see, we've done 3 Black Ops, we've done Thump, we've done 2 Kamen Americas, and we've done 3 Wall Mites. So we've done 9 books together so far, and we've just had so much practice working together that we've got it down to a science.
Oh, so time. It's time, Vicky. That's what it is.
Time, the one thing they aren't making anything more of.
So how long do I have to put up with you before this thing works really well?
I'm just not sure it's worth it.
I don't know, man. I don't know. But we have somebody. I'm gonna go ahead and bring Thomas Hall in.
Oh yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Ryan.
So hey Thomas.
Hello.
Yo.
Hey Thomas.
I'm fine. I just wanted to hang out, because I knew I was going to be listening to this, and I was like, oh, I could also go on. I didn't know if I should. And my brother was like, oh yeah, we should go on. Well, we could chat or something. And then my brother actually went to sleep. He's like, I'm actually tired. He woke up early and stuff, and it's like, yeah, all right.
That's all right. We like you more than we like your brother. Just kidding. Just kidding.
We finally, yeah. My brother's the evil. He's the really evil one. He's the bad one. He's ruining my good name on the internet. But we actually got Black Ops 3 today. Finally read it because usually I just donate to the campaigns. I'll be like, I'm gonna throw a few bucks to this at least, and
because you don't want to read our terrible comics. Okay, I understand.
At some point, we end up getting them, somehow mysteriously. That almost makes it sound like we pirate them, but actually we don't. I guess it's one step away from piracy, except it's completely okay. One of the advantages of being friends with the creators. But
you get a sample. That's what we'll call it, a sample.
A nice, just a taste, perhaps, of the entire thing. But yeah, we read it, and I mean, it's funny because it was like, oh, check it out, and like we don't even need to say anything to each other, like, oh, that was really good. It's like if we want to read it at all, we've gotten to the point where if we even read the comic, it's already good. Because if it wasn't good, we wouldn't even make it like 10 pages in anymore. So yeah, I read it and I liked it. I like the tie-ins. I like it's got that flavor. There's definitely such a distinct style, not just of the art, but like all the little Easter eggs and the references and the tongue-in-cheek and goofy, fun, cute. Like there's always going to be something massively cute and sometimes heartwarming and touching. Because I noticed this one ends on like a not somber, but like a heartstrings-ish kind of note at the end too.
We love making people laugh, but we really love making people cry.
Yes, if you can force it, be as manipulative as humanly possible. And I kind of have an appreciation for that because some people don't even try that. Like they won't even swing for that. And it's like, maybe I think comics would be better if people at least tried a bit more. Well, so many people don't even seem to try, and it's nice to like. Even if I thought it didn't work, it would be like, well, at least somebody tried, and I really appreciate that, and that was cool to see in the comic. I was going to say one thing missing was Layla reference, but then I remember there's like the Elsvilla painting on the wall, I think somewhere.
How did you miss that?
Yeah, in fact, the fact that I missed it when I was reading, because I was just paying attention to the story. I was paying attention to the story, but but the thing is, the fact that I missed it means I should go back, reread it, looking for the Easter eggs, because there's always tons of them.
There's the rub. That's something that Tim got from Dan Schoening, who draws IDW's Ghostbusters comics, and especially when he started on Ghostbusters, every panel it was like this Where's Waldo highlights magazine thing where it was just packed with Easter eggs and references. And it's a 20-page floppy, and if this is like a Bendis comic, I'd read it in 2 minutes and then throw it in the fireplace.
Yeah.
But when it's a Dan Schoening Ghostbusters, I go back and I pore over every page and every panel trying to find all those Easter eggs. It's like a game built into the narrative, and I'll spend like half an hour with one issue. And so that's something Tim learned from Dan Schoening. He's like, oh, people will spend more time paying attention to your comic and your art and keeping it in their hands and in their thoughts if you give them something to go back and look for.
Yeah, when I go through the digital, which I did, I do it to read the story and take all of it in. I got a couple of the Easter eggs. I like looking for them with the book once I have the book in my hands.
Well, you don't have to look for your Easter egg. You got the character name Vicky right there.
Yeah, for Kamen America. But Tim showed, and I missed the one in Black Ops 3, but Tim showed it to me.
So when it comes to the references and the Easter eggs, I would say like 99% of those are actually Tim. So especially when it comes to like the text on like stores and like rappers and things that reference people we know in other books.
Billboards too.
Billboard, yeah. So Tim, I don't give Tim any direction on that. He just goes ham on that and gets it all over the place. The references I actually write into the script and ask him to put in. I don't think even he gets. They're very esoteric and self-serving. Usually for some like really crappy horror movie that no one but me and 12 Italian people have seen. That's usually the kind of thing that I reference.
It's a good way. It's a good combination, though, is that the artist can sort of focus on the goofy little fun things that, sort of shows how, the people who made this comic are having fun. Holy crap. But,
Tim had an ulcer from drawing Kamen America too, so I don't know how much fun he had.
Maybe he had too much fun. Maybe that was the problem with that.
Yeah, there we go.
But it's cool for like the artist to focus on that, and then the writer focuses specifically on the story and other stuff. So it's always a good way to have a team up of like two creative people at the same time working sort of to the same goal with different approaches, and just really functions nicely. That's always good.
We're a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you've come out with like 8 comics in not even 2 years yet, or something.
9.
Yeah, it's altogether 9. So counting Thump, the First 100 Days, which was a children's storybook, but it was still Tim had to draw every page of it. And that came out in 2017, so in 3 years. Yeah, and so Tim's averaging 200 pages drawn, and he doesn't just pencil. He pencils, he inks, he colors, he letters, and then he prepares the whole PDF, and then he does all the campaign fulfillment stuff. So that's why I think that's why he has his ulcer.
Yeah,
and
all that other stuff.
Thump is still available on Thump is still available on Amazon.
Oh, yep. So it's gone through like 9 or 10 printings. It's so our publisher on that one. They just keep it in perpetual print whenever they run out. What's their darn name? Post Hill Press. They're the ones who did Clinton Cash with Brett Smith, who was also the colorist and editor on Thump, and he also did some coloring work on Wall Might 1 and 2. But they just keep cranking it out because there's still demand for it.
Yeah, it actually said when I looked today, it said 3 copies left, but we're getting more.
Don't despair. There's more Thump on
Don't despair. There's more on the way.
Thump will never go away. That's the thing, is that like I know the whole Walmart thing's ending, and it makes sense for that, but at the same time, it's always good to know that the Thump thing just will always exist. There should always be more. Thump
is, of all the books we've done, Thump, the most innocuous and inoffensive thing we've ever done. That was the one that got us the most heat. I think maybe because it was our first book and people were trying to, squash us before we could grow. But that was the one where, people were calling, so like Vulture.com, the Mary Sue, and even the freaking Transformers wiki of all places called Tim a white nationalist. I was like, have you ever seen a picture of Tim?
Oh, yeah, I remember. And didn't he replied with like a picture of him being like, hey, do I look like a white nationalist?
Well, it's racist that you guys would assume that you have to be white. I mean,
exactly.
Come on, guys.
I don't know. You fit the category, Mark.
It's
so it was all you.
I know they should have come after. Well, not should have. I'm very happy to hold Tim up as my human shield. Like, I've got a minority in front of me. They all just went straight after Tim. And the thing is that there's nothing offensive in that book. It's mostly just cute pictures that retell the election with a rabbit. But man,
it's not like Walmart 3. Walmart 3 is the one they should have gone after, shouldn't they?
Right? Yeah, that one's actually going to be hitting so Walmart 3, the campaign on that one ended a while ago, but it's going to be hitting retail and comic shops September 29th, I want to believe. Antarctic Press is doing a single issue release of that one. So for anybody who missed out on Walmart 3, you can still get it at your comic shop. Just make sure to ask them to order it for you.
That's a lot later than I was expecting, because I was kind of hoping. I think Tim told me, we're going to have that on store shelves, hopefully, in August. And it's like, well, not August anymore.
As long as they get it all out before November, then it's all good.
The timing of it. And that was the thing about Thump too, is that it wasn't just. It had like that perfect timing to it. There was nothing else like it. There wasn't, any kind of pro-Trump book or anything at the time.
No, we were
that was a comic.
Yeah, I think that's probably the real reason why they came down so hard on Tim and so hard on the book, was that it was the first one, and they had the whole field to themselves. It was nothing but anti-Trump stuff and no outliers. And then this first little this first little dandelion springs up, and they're like, "No, crush it!"
And then Dandelion just punched right through their feet, like in the thing.
Turns out they had severe allergies, and now they're all choking to death.
That's great.
That's great. They're choking to death.
That is great. You know,
No, it's hilarious. It's a statement.
There's a lot of Schadenfreude going on.
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude.
Out with the Schadenfreude.
Damon, lady. But yeah, there's a lot of that going on throughout all sorts of aspects of comics lately. I've noticed comics and anything to do with comics, just all sorts of good long laughs to be had at other people's expense.
That's the best type of laugh.
Yes.
Wait.
Exactly.
At people instead of with people. That's the best.
I mean, it's so good.
We're not laughing with you. We're laughing at
a name for it. It's so good.
We like to have fun here.
Yeah.
So I heard that you're a pretty big watcher of most medias.
It's funny. There are some things that I absolutely don't watch, and people are surprised. Like, but Mark, I thought you watched everything. I thought you were like 400 pounds and never got out of your rascal scooter. So I don't watch Star Trek. It's not because I have anything against Star Trek. I'm just not into it. I don't watch Doctor Who.
Yeah, that's fine because nobody cares about those.
Yeah, Doctor Who sucks.
Yeah, I think there was I only ever watched one season of Doctor Who out of all the many years. It's not my thing. I'd rather watch repeats of Blackadder, honestly.
I've heard that Doctor Who fans are worse than Cape Cucks. I mean, and that's just I'm joking.
So my memory of Doctor Who is so I was born in the 80s, and I grew up in the early 90s, and I had the good version of the Sci-Fi Channel when they could still spell their name right.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when it was like mostly just like reruns of like 60s stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember like Doctor Who, the one with the guy with the scarf. I don't know which doctor that is. I don't care, but
Doctor.
Yeah, it was like
I don't know.
That one, Tom Baker. I don't know. They would rerun that one, and they'd also rerun Lost in Space. And I would rather watch Lost in Space. I actually like Lost in Space a lot. I would watch just about anything but Doctor Who. Like when Doctor Who came on, it was time to go outside and play in the yard.
Yeah,
I'd rather be lost in space than.
I loved Lost in Space when I was a kid.
It was one of my favorites. In fact, so that was another one where like they also on Sci-Fi Channel they reran like OG Star Trek with William Shatner, but I didn't watch that either. I watched Lost in Space. When it came down to like which one's my favorite, it was always Lost in Space.
I was watching OG Star Trek before there was a Sci-Fi Channel in reruns on TV when I was a kid. Yeah, I loved it. That was another one of my favorites. But I was a weird kid. I think mainly because my mom was a huge Star Trek fan. Like, my mother was such a big Star Trek fan. When we went to go see the motion picture in the theaters, as we were walking out, I think I was 12 or 13 or something, and my mom turns to me and she goes, "You should shave your head." I'm like,
no.
What? She's like, you've got a good face and a good neck for it. You should shave your hair off. And I'm
your mom was ahead of the times on style.
She was way ahead of the time. I'm like,
influenced by Princess Kambata from that movie too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just
who was that singer lady? I can't remember her name. The only thing anybody remembers her doing is she tore up that picture of the Pope on SNL. She's
Sinead O'Connor.
Sinead O'Connor, thank you. Like, fight real evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was pre Sinead O'Connor though. Yeah. She was nowhere around at the time. But my mom was like, "Yeah, you should do that." Like crazy woman. Though it is one of the best movie soundtracks ever.
Oh yeah. I mean, the soundtrack for it became the main theme for TNG also.
Yeah.
TNT?
Next Generation. They use the
I'm sorry. When
Yeah.
I hear TNT, I think the network, not next. Okay,
TNT network.
Yeah. Yep. But I watched a lot of weird stuff when I was a kid. I was lucky enough I caught all the Sid and Marty Krofft stuff on the weekends, and
Oh yeah, I watched God, which one was it? So I didn't see like Sigmund and the Sea Monster, HR Puff and stuff. I saw something much worse. I think it was the Bugaloos. It was about these guys dressed
Oh,
up as like bees.
God, and the show looks like like a total acid trip with a child
All those
smack dab in the middle. But worse, that one was like at 11. That was a 2-tab, not a 1-tab trip.
It was. I mean, I wasn't surprised when I found out that Sid and Marty Krofft are the ones who came up with Ronald McDonald Land. Like Mayor McCheese and the Hamburglar and the Grimace and all those like weird acid trip characters. Like, after you toke up kids, go to McDonald's and get some munchies.
Just characters that don't really make sense for like a McDonald's, for a hamburger restaurant. It's like, here's this giant purple glob. And it's like, okay, is that going to make people hungry? It's almost like the Stone Toss comic. It's like, how are we going to sell burgers with this? Burgers?
They also gave us Donnie and Marie.
Oh, boy. Oh yeah, they did, didn't they? A pox on them for that.
I know.
Even worse.
I actually spent like an entire day doing a deep dive on McDonald Land lore. And every single one of Ronald's friends, so his is like, I don't know, it's like Fist of the North Star, where every single person he defeated in battle joined his crew. So like the Grimace used to be a villain who stole milkshakes. He used to have 4 arms and a kangaroo pouch, and Ronald kicked his ass, and so Grimace became his friend. And the Hamburglar stole hamburgers, and Captain Crook stole fish sandwiches. But Ronald beat the shit out of all of them, and they joined his party, and now they go and they fight like, I don't know, the Grand Mage or whatever you do in gay RPGs from Japan.
They didn't keep the Crook guy, but I know they kept the Hamburglar and Grimace for a long time at least.
That's the best true story of capitalism.
Yeah. It's more interesting than the founder.
Oh, that's a real story of capitalism.
I mean, that was a good movie, actually. But
so, like McDonald's, they used to do McDonald's cartoons. Like, they could never do that now, where they take a food mascot and give him his own animated series. They could never get away with that now. But
I used to watch it as a kid. Totally, the McDonald's.
Yeah,
cartoon.
it was it had a whole series of videotapes that you could buy. You could rent them at Blockbusters. We had them when I worked at Blockbusters. And they were done by the same people who did like Rugrats and Ariel Monsters, Klasky Supo. So they were all grotesque looking.
I hated that style. I mean, I didn't hate those cartoons necessarily, because Duckman I loved, but the style was kind of existentially horrifying.
It fit Duckman, and I'd say it fit Ariel Monsters, because that show was about monsters. But people were telling me at the time, like, you got to watch the show on Nickelodeon. It's a cartoon, but it's for preteens and teenagers, called As Told by Ginger, and it's really serious. And I'm like, I can't watch this show. Her mouth's on her chin.
Just horrifying stuff. I mean, it's funny to think that it wasn't really until Avatar: The Last Airbender did America have like an actually good serialized sort of, storytelling, not just meant for kids, but kids could watch it. That was actually decent. I mean, I guess if you don't count Mysterious Cities of Gold, but I mean that wasn't.
Well, that was a French show. That was actually imported. So like things like Robotech and Voltron that did have serialized storytelling, they're all foreign shows we imported, and it's one of those things where that the reason it took so long for America to get cartoons that had episode to episode storytelling, like we would have arcs, but it would be like a 2-parter, or maybe if it was like G.I. Joe, it would be a 5-parter. But there was this mentality from all like the executives that, kids can't follow an ongoing storyline. They'll miss episodes and they'll lose interests. Or they had when Speed Racer first aired in the US, the networks got angry phone calls from parents who didn't like the episodes ended on cliffhangers because they felt it was manipulative, that it forced them to come back and watch it. I bet you all those moms watch their soap operas every day.
Yeah, of course.
But that mentality, it stayed as like, you know, the law of the land for American cartoons, like up until the 2000s. Like it was like, it just isn't done. You know, you just don't do it that way. And that's the same mentality of the guy who shall not be named, who recommended to Tim and me that we add a kid's sidekick to Black Ops who had a skateboard and sunglasses, because all the kids' cartoons have kids sidekicks in them, so you should too. Like, who likes that?
There was a show when I was a kid called Cliffhanger, and it was on, or Cliffhangers, something along those lines, and it was on Friday nights, and it was like an anthology show, so it had like 2 or 3 different stories, and each one on Friday night ended on a cliffhanger, so you had to come back the next Friday night to see what would happen. But they did that on Wonderful World of Disney. Is they had those little shorts, like the one about the Toby that joined the circus.
Oh yeah,
and there were a couple. Yeah, there were a couple of others in that show, and they all ended on cliffhangers on Sunday night before they showed the main Disney Wonderful World of Disney feature.
Yeah, it was so there was this thing. It's called first run syndication, where, and we don't have to do it this way anymore because nobody makes TV directly for syndicated broadcasting. But it's still considered the standard. If you've ever wondered why TV shows always have seasons and the episode count is always divisible by 13, so it's either 13 episodes, 26 episodes, 52 episodes, or 65 episodes, it's because for a show back in the day, to qualify for syndication, meaning it could be sold as a package to different local broadcasters, it had to meet the 65 episode minimum limit, because that meant that it could be broken up into 5 episodes a week for 13 weeks. And then, of course, there's 4 quarters. So that's 1 quarter. So quarter 1 is 13, quarter 2 is 13, etc. And then you have 52 weeks in a year. And so, but we don't do that anymore, because nobody goes by a local broadcast network standards anymore. We went to cable, and then now we're on streaming, but we still do it that way because it's kind of been grandfathered in as the practice. It's just the way it's been done. Nobody wants to change it, even though it's not useful. So
actually, like Netflix, you know, those 8 episode seasons that you get now, I actually feel gypped because I want my 13 episodes, my at least 13
sometimes
episodes.
It's too short. Although, you know what, one thing I've been watching Cobra Kai, and I kind of wish I had watched it earlier, but now that's on Netflix, like, oh, it's easier to watch. I got it right there. So I watch it, and it's like, wow, this is so, I'm just blowing through the entire season on accident. It's like, wow, it's like the uneven amount of episodes, and then they're like a half hour. Some of them are like 37 minutes. Some of them are like 28 minutes. So it's not even a consistent amount. It just, the episode goes on until it doesn't need to, and they get to the point so much faster in most episodes, and I kind of like that there's no filler.
It was originally on YouTube, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's such a relief, you know. I mean, it is kind of weird because we've been conditioned to assume that half an hour. So like we get to, or it's 22 minutes really, because you're not watching with commercials. So once we get to like on the DVD player, the 20-minute mark, we know like, oh, there's only about 2 minutes left, so they got to wrap this up pretty soon. You kind of get the pacing in your head, but then you watch, like you said, those streaming shows that just last as long as they need to last. So all of a sudden it's just like 29 minutes into the episode and it's over, or it's like 16 minutes into the episode and it's over. Like, what? Yeah. Oh shit!
I remember watching House. I would, that's, it's like, oh, they solved the case in only 20 minutes. Oh wow! What are they going to do with the rest of the episode? And it's, of course, because of that, you always knew they didn't really solve the case, and it kind of, when the episode hinges around that, it's like, okay, yeah, something's going to happen. They definitely didn't figure it out. And I mean, House always knew how to manage that, because it was more about the character interactions and House being a dick, at least, for entertainment factor. But when TV would try to insist that, yes, the Voyager crew definitely got home in the first 10 minutes of the episode this time. It's like, no.
It used to be that way. Law and Order, the old Law and Order episodes. It didn't happen very often, but it would go to trial in the first 20 minutes, and then you always knew whoever they had wasn't the dude.
Yeah.
But then it became sort of the shtick. That became like every episode. In the later episodes, you know, they were always at trial in the first 20 minutes, and it was never the dude, except for maybe one time when it turned out to really be the dude, even though they thought it wasn't, because it was just that show went on way too long.
At that point, they're like playing with formula, and it's like, no, it's not even really a TV show at that point, is it?
No.
Well, The Simpsons did a good joke about that. It was the one where Apu got fired from the Quickie Mart, and he goes and he works at their house for a while, and like 15 minutes into the episode, he does that "Who needs the Quickie Mart" song, and he ends it with like, "Who needs the Quickie Mart? Not me." And the Simpsons all sit down, and Homer's like, "Well, that's wrapped up. Ooh, faster than usual." That's what the episode should end. And then, but there's still like 10 minutes left, so they have to find a new conflict.
Since we only have a couple minutes left, let's just go ahead and bring this on back to Kamen America, since it's currently on Kickstarter, and you were 4 backers away from 800.
Ooh, I haven't checked on it. I've been enjoying talking about.
I know. I'm doing it for you.
It's fun to do streams. You blew right past the 666 backers. That's good to see.
Yeah, I don't want to stick on that one too long.
I wish I had a screenshot of the 69 backers, though. No, maybe next time.
There should be some kind of, you know what, maybe that's the future of crowdfunding, is there's some kind of bonus for like, if your backer's 69 or if your backer's 666, because I mean, you know, the site keeps track of that, so they would have to, you know, it would be cool to put in some kind of weird bonus like that. Like the first backer gets this thing, this, you know, backer 13 gets nothing or something. Some kind of weird custom number bonus.
See, I don't know. So it's like a radio station, like ninth caller gets tickets to REO Speedwagon.
Yeah. REO Speedwagon. That's
Sweet.
I haven't heard REO Speedwagon. And
well, no, that's going to be one of our perks then on Kamen America. Like the 800 backer gets our tickets to REO Speedwagon because we don't want to go.
I think I actually may have an REO Speedwagon on my work playlist on my. Yeah.
They are cool.
They are. Cool. They were cool.
Ride in the storm mouth.
But then I also have disco and flamenco, so it's not like.
What?
You know who wasn't cool? Who always tricked me into thinking they were cool? Because I hadn't heard more than 2 songs from them for most of my life. It was Kiss. Like I knew Detroit Rock City and I Want to Rock and Roll All Night, and I think Lick It Up. So I knew 3 songs. And so like, oh, these guys, they got this makeup on and they dress like demons and they got these big explosions around. They're so fucking scary, man. They're hardcore. And I picked up one of their actual albums and like it's like bubblegum, like cutesy rock, like I was made for loving you.
Yeah,
and they call
me yeah, they suck.
I'm like, oh man, it was just all branding and marketing. It was.
I feel like the makeup should have been a very clear hint.
Yeah,
they weren't nearly as cool.
I mean, Alice Cooper's not a bait and switch. Alice Cooper wears makeup and mascara and looks hardcore. He dresses up like a demon on the Muppet Show, but then he sings his songs and they're awesome. Same thing with Ozzy, but Kiss.
I loved him on the Muppet Show.
Alice Cooper is Halloween episodes. Alice Cooper is great. Almost every Alice Cooper album, he has like 20 or 30 albums, and almost all of them are still great.
And he doesn't look any older now than he did in 1979. I don't know what's going on.
Well, that's because he always looked like he was 70 years old, of course. Yeah.
I watched this documentary a few weeks ago. It's called The Decline of Western Civilization Part 2 of the Metal Years. And it was made in like 1985. Yeah. And they interview Alice Cooper on that. And like circa 1985, Alice Cooper, who's supposed to be 29, you know, he looked like he was 50, but he looks the same as he does now.
Yeah.
I guess some drugs will preserve you.
Right, yeah, formaldehyde.
I don't think he was even a really big drug guy. I think he was a drinker, but he was just kind of weird on his own. In fact, he's weirder than ever because he's, you know, basically almost always been kind of a right-wing kind of guy,
Yeah,
actually.
well, you ever heard him just like talk normally, like on the Muppet Show when he's like, "Oh, hey, Miss Piggy." He sounds like he should be teaching you about the food pyramid or something.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't sound scary at all.
And that's one of the best. That's one of the best, like weirdo, bizarre things about him is how much of a square he might sound. I mean, that's lent to that great joke in Wayne's World, of course, where they go backstage and he starts not lecturing them, but he's like informing them about the history behind the name Milwaukee, and the Algonquins settled here once, didn't they? And they're like, wow, that's interesting. It's just bizarre and really funny.
I hate to have to cut this, but I know Mark has another obligation over on his channel with Tim to
Oh yeah, that's right.
pump
Tim,
I'm
and
going on that
shill his
too.
book.
I'm also going on that.
So the
Okay.
link is in the description for Kamen America 2 and the Black Cops Omnibus, as well as Mark's novel over on Amazon. Thanks
bye,
so
bye,
much.
bye.
Thank
Yeah,
you so
especially
much.
Kamen America
Mark.
too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you
Chill.
guys
I
for
will
having me
chill the
on.
hell
You
out
and
of it.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back. We can
I
talk
like to
about
talk.
all the movies and TV that Gene's never seen.
Oh yeah.
And me.
Yeah, right. Hey, Dean, have you ever seen Troll 3? Not the Troll 3 about the monster plants, but the Troll 3 that's actually Ator 3. You know, the screaming eagle from
actually, it's
I remember
actually
Ator
funny
the
that you mention it because no, I haven't.
Funny story. No, I haven't.
But thank you so much, Mark. And thanks for
Yeah,
joining
thank
us, Thomas.
Thank you also. And now we all go over. Well, some of us, I guess, go over to Mark and Tim's channel then.
Yeah, I'll be in the chat.
Oh, and check out our comics too, I guess. Literally and Villains of the Snow Sea now available on Amazon for print.
Yeah,
They're
I'll drop links into the description.
I'll probably shill more of that over on Bunderdome.
The art is cool, Thomas.
Yeah, it's cool.
In
Yeah, the
movie comic.
artist. Yeah, the artist I got is fantastic.
Yeah.
That Layla chick is hot. I like her coat.
Layla
Laylee
Laylee.
is
Laylee.
hot.
Yeah,
Oh no.
especially in
I
that.
didn't even learn her name.
Yeah. So good night, everybody, and thanks, chat, for joining us.
Nighty night, everybody.
Dean, you want to say something before we leave, since you've been really quiet?
No, I was just enjoying the conversation.
Right, say good night, Dean.
Good night, guys.
Supposed to say good night, Dean. Jeez.
Good night, Dean.